disconnected. We've severed our ties with our spirit, so our spirit's just, it's not like in limbo, where it's just like we'll rather believe our thoughts over. I'll just set this on. Fire on. Is the fire on? Yep. I'll be right there. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
he's
go
there.
now, okay?
So it'll be an hour or so, hour and a half.
Yeah, about an hour, yeah. He's got it together. He just needs to put a patch. That's what he was doing.
So did you, were you
Yeah,
okay with what he told you?
yeah, kind of disconnected from my spirituality there, and I wasn't seeing I wasn't linking up with my own spirit when it left my body, and
Yeah.
it still went somewhere.
Yeah.
Cause then I'd cause I could do sometimes when I'm waking.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like I'd be closing my eyes and it's like a door or like a portal opens
Yeah.
up or something like that.
Yeah.
And the first time it happened, I think I seen where we go.
Mm-hmm.
Cause it was like a plains, like a prairie or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a river there.
Yeah.
And there was all these woods there and these trees, and I could see I couldn't like see the village, but I could see where the smoke was coming from, and I just kind of felt like that's home, you know.
Yeah.
And I know before that it was like I always worried about mortality and stuff like that. So I used to tell people I was like 26 years old going through a midlife crisis, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just think, because you know our expected life rate isn't that long. That's where I was like, oh, I'm already halfway done with my life on paper here. But then after that, it kind of seemed like, all right, well, I know where we go, and it's, you know, it's kind of like almost like, I don't want to say I can't wait to get there, but I know it's like it's better than it is here, I guess you could say, or currently now.
Yeah.
And then the second time that happened that I remember is well, it was like a buckskin tapestry or something like that, and it was circular, and it almost looked like how them teepee drawings are or whatever. And I could see like, I just remember them people riding on horseback, and there was some other stuff around there, and it was just like a big circle. And that's where I was like, kind of, to me it seemed like, all right, this is a part of our history or something that was on that. And I don't really understand it, but I know, I guess just keeping thinking about it, and kind of eventually understanding, I guess, will come, I guess, or about that tapestry. But I noticed that like kind of almost seems like right here or something like that, and then it like connects with this right here. When I could get those two to link up, that's when it seems like I could open up in my mind like this to see other stuff, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. Or see whatever is behind that door, maybe, I guess, or something like that anyways. Mm-hmm. And then I know, and then like lately that it's been on my mind with dreams is when I was younger, I went out east to Wisconsin there with my mom and my father, or my stepfather, and they were having a ceremony there, and we went along and to support them and stuff, and we were camping there, and they had all those fires there in that arbor or something like that, but we were up there on kind of to the east, I believe. And I remember we built the fire because it was really cold, and we didn't bring enough blankets, you know, and the ground was kind of froze or something. But then I remember we built that fire to warm up, and then my two brothers, they were watching the fire, and I went to sleep. But when I was sleeping there, I remember like I was in a wigwam or something like that, or a lodge, but not like a sweat lodge, but like, or I don't know, maybe, I don't know, but it was, I just remember seeing that bark and like the poles or whatever, the structure, and there was three women there, and there was one that was like, looked like she might be in her 20s, early 20s or something. And it kind of seemed like it was like the mother or the daughter, the mother and the grandmother. And they were sitting there, and the youngest one was on the left, and the middle one was in, well, then, you know, left to right was the youngest. And they had three, fire was in front of each one of them. And they were sitting here, there was a fire, and then right here was a piece of birch bark, you know. It wasn't like a basket or nothing, but it was just like birch bark, and they had tobacco on there. And they didn't say nothing, but I remember they were just kind of smiling at me or something like that. You know, it was just a good feeling. And then I woke up, and that's always been kind of wondering what that meant, you know. So I told my dad when he was alive, but I think he knew what it meant, or had an inclination on what it meant, but I was always like, I've always been kind of scared and ashamed to ask, you know, and it's like, especially for me being around here, you know, it's like, got all, you know, living here in this community and being around Leech Lake here, and we have all these elders that got all this knowledge, but it's like, I was ashamed to ask for it. Like my buddies that live in the cities or out from away from here, though, like my one friend, he speaks a lot of Ojibwe, and he works down there at the, what is that, that Boys and Girls Club in the projects there, and he speaks Ojibwe and stuff, and you know, and it's like, all right, well, he's way down there in the cities, you know, but he knows more Ojibwe than me, you know, and he knows more about our way of life than me, and it always kind of seems like I was just too ashamed to ask and scared, you know, like I always felt like I should already know this stuff, but I never really had the courage to ask for it. And that's where, now that, well, I'm getting a little bit older, and that's where I realized it's like, well, you better start asking, otherwise you're never gonna know. So that's where I like coming to these. Always learn something. It always seems like it's something to do like with the dreams and the visions. Like that dream just came on my mind, like, I don't know, a few days. It was like kind of after the last Monday, you know, a couple days after that, and I start remembering that, and then like, you know, just like, all right, well, I better go start asking around, or put out some, you know, figure out what's going on here. As I know, I went and fasted there for a little bit, and I don't know exactly what the sounds were that I heard, but it kind of sounded like fighting or something like that, like the sounds that them guns make when they shoot them shells off. And I heard it to the east of us, the south of us, and the west of us, but not where we're at right here, you know. And it wasn't to the north either. And I could just hear it was like that, and they were just loud, you know. And when I got done, I came back and I asked my father-in-law, because he always wakes up in the morning. I was like, "Did you hear anything like in the, you know, like any weird noises, you know, the other morning there?" And he's like, no, it was just a normal day. And that's where I was like, all right, I figure, I don't know exactly what that's all about yet, but I figure, you know, the more I think about it, I guess, the more understanding I'll have. And just trying to keep that mindset, I guess you could say, that all right, you know, that there are different dimensions, I guess you could say, or different realities, and you know, and like when you do that, you know, even though, you know, like how you're saying your body was there in the forest, but you weren't with your body or something, like your spirit traveled out, and that's where I figure I was somewhere else when I heard those. And I don't know. Well, the feeling I got is it's time to start preparing, and there's gonna be some stuff coming up, but as long as we prepare ourselves and be Anishinaabe, we'll be okay. And as long as, you know, and it's where it just seems like always like get drawn back to this place. Like I'll try to go live other places, like down south, where, because I'm originally from in Oklahoma. Try to go live down there, and I was down there for about 9 months, and all of a sudden right back here, and I was gonna go back, then I hurt my back, so I ended up staying here and try to go live out east, and you know, was out there for a little while, but boom, right back here, you know, and that's where I was like, all right, well, this is where I have to be, or at least around these here parts, anyways, to for the whatever's coming ahead, I guess. And that's where now, and then that's where another thing I got when I went out there was that courage that I've been lacking in my life, and that confidence in my own inner being. And I learned, like, before I went out there, I didn't even know that there's more than just the 4 directions. That's where I was like, oh, there's 7, and even, you know, probably more than that too. And that's just, you know, the 7 that right now, and then get the more and more I learn, I'll probably learn about more and more and more different directions, you know. So I know there's probably a direction for where those spirit animals go to when they go to that, and they blink over there, and how they, because yeah, it was really, because when I was living in Bemidji, I seen this little, it was like a little woman, probably about this tall, but I was laying down on my bed, and I had a window right up to my right here, and I was in the basement, so you know the floor was kind of, you know, the window was, you know, kind of up there a little ways, and I noticed a mist. It looked like a mist or something, kind of almost like that movie, what is it, 13 Warriors or something, when that mist comes down that mountain. And it kind of came into my window, and I was like, oh, that's cool. So look at all this fog that's coming into our house here. And then it slowly went down to the base of my bed, and it materialized into this woman that was dressed old school anyway. She was in buckskin and white buckskin, and she was, you know, she was pure white, or well, not, you know, the color that she manifested in was white, you know, like her skin and her hair and her dress and all of her beadwork and her moccasins, they're all white, and she was about that tall or something. And she just like smiled, and all of a sudden she just like kind of disappeared right in front of me, or it almost seemed like she went into me or something like that, and she disappeared.
And that's where she is.
And that's where I don't know if that was
It's one of your helpers.
yeah, that's where I was almost like through the over the time, I don't know if, like, I've heard different stories and stuff, and it kind of makes me wonder if that's Ojibwemowin's wife, or that northern spirit or something like that, or I don't know, but it almost seems like something about that.
You know, the Ojibwemowin spirit is who? There's a guy there. His name is Mete Q-Ants. That's what we call it. The old man at the Mede Lodge. So, and then you said that's his wife. So that's who helps you. That's what we call Ogichidakwe.
Ogichidakwe, that life-giving light, huh?
Yes.
Because I remember she just smiled and it made me just feel just good, you know?
And that's what it's about, nurturance, sustenance, peace, serenity.
Yeah, that's where now, and then I've been kind of, haven't been paying attention to the things that I need to be doing, and I suppose my life's been kind of hard, I guess you could say, or struggling to find work and whatnot, but now I quit thinking, well, it's still a struggle even now, you know, it's like, oh man, I got rent, I gotta get this money for rent, but it was just like, all right, well, just don't worry about that and just live live right now. Just like how you've been saying. And you know, and then, you know, it's still in the back of my mind, but I just keep trying to force myself, all right, well, just go out here and just start doing whatever you need to do, you know. Just, all right, fine, if you don't have nothing to do, go find something to do. And that's where I just been trying, like I've been out, well, first time ricing, well, since I was young with bug school this year, and we weren't pulling in those big old loads like some of those veterans, but you know, it was like, all right, don't worry about it, you know, we're gonna go out here and rice and have a good time. And I made rent, you know, and I didn't even think that we had enough, but before I knew it, I was able to pay my rent, and it was and then I had enough money left over, and then I had to get my electricity paid. And then I said, all right, yeah, that's where I just got do what I got to do for today. And then when tomorrow comes, do what I got to do for tomorrow, but I got to worry about today first. And it's still a struggle to not think about, or I don't know, not think, but don't let that take over my actions for the days, you know, like, all right, yeah, rent's due on the 20th, how am I going to get this money, you know, and thinking about, all right, well, just like even today I was kind of thinking, well, all right, well, I'll do what I got to do today here, so helped out a couple different people, and then before I knew it, I was out there in the woods picking pine cones. I was, oh yeah, well, getting pine cones now, all right, and just getting back into the woods is really fun.
Taking you there.
Yeah, and it's just like a belonging, I guess you could say. And then even because I lost my glasses when I was ricing, the last day too, and they're teasing me because there was a couple of otter out there, and there was a turtle or something like that, and I fell in and my glasses got lost, and there was like a couple otter right there. And all my ricing buddies that were out there were laughing. He was like, oh, them otters stole your glasses. And then by the time I got back to shore, it was, all right, the otter stole my glasses, and then the turtle come stolen from the otter. And then I got over to the facility center over here, like a little while after that, or no, it must have been about a week later. And my buddy George, the second thing he said to me after, oh, Dean, how you doing? I said, oh, I'm doing good. I heard the turtle stole your glasses, and I start laughing. It's like, yup. That's where, and then just, and you know how being able to, that openness, like how you were talking about before, being able to talk about anything. And that's where I really enjoy is usually I'm kind of quiet, you know what I mean, and I'll listen a lot before I say anything. But even like the last time I started opening up, you know, it's like, oh, all right, yeah, and laughing and joking and just being myself without any blockage or inhibition or whatever they call it, stopping me from being myself. That's where I really look forward to this every Monday. Come through and learn something.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh wow, learn something new there too.
Yeah. Oh, is that your name? So when the elder does Mike Smith, he said, oh, I didn't know that was your name. Let me say your name. Or another one is, he says, oh, did you fart? So I don't smell like that all the time.
It's where my buddy Curtis that one day we were all sitting around there and he ended up farting and we all kind of looked at him weird and he was sitting down and he just kind of bent over where the booget was coming out between his legs and he started smudging himself down. He was like, cleansing myself. Yeah, man, we all started laughing, man. Yeah, that's where.
Yeah, that's what I say. I said, breathe deep, hold it in, smudge.
Purity, no.
That's what this is all about, is just about what you're talking about. That's what the dreams are all about, the visioning, the traveling and all that. What you dreamt about, I dreamt about those too. Very same things. About the lodges. But my dream was a little bit different. Half the lodge is midday, the other half is the Sundance. And I told a lot of elders this. I mean, I've been talking about this for like 30 something years. When I first had it, it was about 40 years ago. Half the lodge is midday, the other half is Sundance. And in the middle of that lodge, the two lodges, there's a power and an energy, it's a light. You can hear people. I also dreamt about I don't know if it was the war or something. I had seen these big mushrooms come forming in the sky. What followed right after the big mushroom was a wind so strong that just blew right over us. But I remember I heard this voice in the sky says, gather the people. Girachiwana. I saw that. Weekend.
Oh. There's a wee bit here. Oh.
And that's what that means. Girachiwana is gather the people. That's a sacred way. And when I was gathering the people, I also told them, well, don't waste my time with anything. Just tell the people, just go up to them, just tell them, there's this place, I have this place that we need to go. And then those that came along, and there was about 150 of us that walked, and we walked for days. And I just remember we just kept walking and walking for days away from these big mushrooms. And then pretty soon I could hear water, because we couldn't see, because it was so just like the sun was blocked out, and it was looked like a hazy sky and dark. And we kept walking, and pretty soon I could hear the water coming. Then as soon as we walked far enough, I could hear the water. I could see a little bit of light, and then the closer we got, we came up to this river, and this river was flowing. You could hear the water just flowing really nice. Across of it there was people, and there was animals, bears, I mean all kinds of animals, birds. Fish were even poking their heads out of the water, talking, communicating. I mean, they weren't talking like this, like in English or anything. They were just talking to each other, people, human beings, and animals all living together. And I remember I was just told to cross the river and that's our home. And not to waste our time with all the animosities, the fighting, because even people were really mean, saying, oh, what the hell do you think you are telling us to go there? And he says, we don't have to follow you, we're going to make camp right here and we're going to stay. So people kept falling off, and then about 150 of us made it all the way. We started off with about like 700 people. And we just kept walking and walking and walking. And we walked, I believe, for like about 7 days, 8 days. It was quite a few days we walked. And we made it. And that's where we're going to be. And that's where a lot of us are going to go. A lot of us. So, and that's what those dreams are all about. It shows us something to look forward to. There is a happy moment we're going to all reach. See, a lot of us, we're going to stay in that chaos, that arguing, that fighting, and that misery. We're just gonna keep on to it, and I can't stress enough. And I tell our women this every day. Every day I tell them something really good. The power of women, we need that. I can't express that enough. We need the power of the woman, that nurturance, that love, because they carried us for 9 months, the women, and we need that power back. And when you dreamt about that Ojibwemowin, that's what we're talking about, is we need that to be able to be alive and well here today.
Yeah. When you're talking about those animals, that, whoa, it was my girlfriend, she dreamt. She told me one day she woke up all happy and excited. And she was like, I had a dream last night where we stayed over here. And there's that big field out there. And then there's my mom's house there, and we were staying in the attic at the time. And she said, because we usually during the summer we sleep with the window open. And she said she was sitting there, and it was like in her dream she just woke up and there was birds coming in the window. And she was like, well, what the hell's going on, you know? So what's going on here? These birds are here. And she thought it, you know, it's like, yeah, I thought it was just cool and beautiful, these birds are coming into our house here. And then I looked out, or then she said, and she said she seen from the west all these animals coming out of the woods that are on the backside of the field there. And at first when she told me that, I started thinking that movie Dreamcatcher or something. I was like, oh, what kind of dream are you having here, you know? And then she was like, no, they weren't running from anything, they were coming here. And she said like every animal she could imagine was coming out of the woods, and there was like a bear and shagog and, you know, a porcupine, deer. And she said she walked downstairs and out our southern door there, and right in our south yard, she said she seen a big old timber wolf come up. And she said, and it was like a puppy dog, she said. And just sat there and started playing with her. And that's where I was like, oh wow. That's where I was like, I thought about it, and I was like, oh, I wonder, it must be all of our clans or something, I don't know. See, it wasn't my dream, you know, and what I just heard sharing that with me made me feel good too, you know, and have hope, I guess. And happiness, and that's where I was like, and that's where I should have, see, like that inner self, I've always been, so it's that voice in my head always been telling me, oh, you should learn about this, but then, you know, it's like two voices or something in my head. One's that the inner self, my inner direction, I know, telling me, all right, you need to go over here and do this, or you need to learn about this, you know, and you need to take care of this. And then there's, I guess you could say, my material side or something will doubt that voice and tell me, oh no, well, you know, it's kind of like hocus pocus, or, you know, kind of stuff like that. Not really like hocus pocus, but it would get me to doubt myself. And then for a long time I'd listen, I guess, to this side of the brain or whatever the heck, and I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. And that's where I know grandfather kicked me in the butt recently and gave me a test that I failed, and now I gotta work on myself now, because I don't know how to really deal with my anger, you know. It just kind of erupts like a volcano or something like that. And now, before, you know, it gave me chances to deal with it, and I always didn't deal with it. And now I got kicked in the butt now, and now I'm forced to deal with it, you know. And so that's where I'm just trying to work on myself. That's where, like, when that first time I came here was, you know, you gotta love yourself. And that's where I realized it was like, I love my girlfriend and everybody else, you know, but I never really truly loved myself. And that's where I was like, oh, I don't know if I know how to love myself. And then slowly, you know, that's where, you know, like now it was like just waking up and it's like, all right, I love me for being here today and breathing, and I love myself for being able to get up and start working on myself and the things I need to work on in order to have that Ojibwemowin, that balance. And that's where it's still, you know, it's work, constant work, I guess you could say, but I'm making baby steps now anyways. That's where I just need to, yeah, it keeps coming back down and work on today. And just worry about today, and that's where I gotta get this other voice. All right, well, when the 20th comes, we'll worry about that money on the 20th. You know, we just work on today, and you know, work and get whatever you need today, and you know, might get a couple bucks here, a couple bucks there, you know, and by the 20th, you know, add it all up and see what happens. And that's where, all right, and that's where I was able to keep our house, because it was kind of a concern there for a while there. And that's where if I would have listened right away, I would have probably been out there ricing at least a whole week earlier, you know what I mean? And probably would have had enough for a car or something, so I don't have to be walking around. But now I know it's like, all right, just keep working, keep working, keep working. That's where I don't know, I always feel really good when I leave these here too, and it helps me out throughout the week too. And it's like, all right, yeah, just keep working, keep working. That's where I was glad when you guys said, oh, it's like, oh yeah, we need somebody, video camera or something. That's where I was like, oh, I could go snag one of those real quick. Because I know, because there's just us here today, but you know, there's, you know, our people need to hear this, you know. And that's where it's like, the first two, man, it was like, wow, you know. Like I didn't even catch the whole first one either, but even when it seemed like I got there right when I was supposed to be there, because he started talking about humility and love and respect, and like some of the big three things that I need to work on the most, you know what I mean? Especially that humility and respect, and well, all three of them, you know. And so we're all right, I'll work on these, and you know, whenever it's meant to be for me to get to these other ones, like start working on those too, and I guess make that circle or whatever. That's where me glitch for sharing your knowledge with us, and donuts too.
No way.
And the rolls, me glitch Ted for the rolls. Come up here and get sugared up real quick.
I noticed.
Oh, wow, that's good.
Yeah, you did good. You're doing good.
Yeah, I think we'll call it early tonight, so it's been really good.
Well, 7:30 right on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We used up the whole 2 hours anyway.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll get something. Wash this table.
You want to take that one?
You don't want that, sister?
Okay.
Take it with you. There's one little piece of this too, still.
You don't have to eat it right now.
Yeah, you can take it with you. Here, put this in there too.
You should see the 13 rocks we got. All of them are huge. They're like 40 rocks.
Of course.
Wow. And that's the only rocks that were left there. So we said, oh, well, suppose we got to use them.
Wouldn't be a sweat if they weren't like that.
True, yeah, that's another thing. It wouldn't be a sweat if you were like that.
But that's good though.
Yep.
It's really.
That's what I told Almond. I just said, oh. I said, well, I guess we're gonna have a nice lot. Boy, I seen he showed me all the stuff they bought. Did he show you that? The jacket, the axe, baskets, all of they gave him a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I said, gee.
I said, what about me?
I thought the same thing. I said, well, Chris, but Ted and I did the majority of the work.
Yeah.
We got all the wood, split it and everything.
You gonna finish that, or do you want me to throw it out?
And all you have to do is just watch the fire and bring the rocks in.
Yeah, yeah.